where I am the deputy director for Kenya, and he was actually our director of elections, and actually he did very well. During his time, we had so many members of parliament in this house. Therefore, on my behalf, on behalf of my constituency and my family, I pass my heartfelt condolence. And we are having a fundraising on 14th of this month. Those of you who will be able to help us, I think, to be able to escort the body to Kimilili. Please, members of parliament, you are most welcome. I think we'll give you the paybill number so they can be able to assist us to be able to support.
The Honorable Member from Diwa, Honorable Martin Olo. And honorable members, let us keep this to 2 minutes so that other members get an opportunity.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's very sad to lose people at this rate. And I want to condole with the family of Murunga as well as the family of Austin Oduor. Just want to say a few things about Austin. Madam Speaker, this is the most finest team captain we ever had in Kenya. And there are some few things that he displayed even on the field that we should take as a lesson and do everywhere we can. Was skillful, that's true. Was disciplined, honest, humble, and also a composed skipper. And I want to thank Honorable Mboko. You have really eulogized our brother in all the talents he displayed when he was on the pitch. Not that, he was also a mentor. He mentored so many people, and out of those mentorship, his own child came out, Arnold Origi, of former Harambee Star goalkeeper, as well as Divock Origi, of former Liverpool and now AC Milan, as well as Michael Koth, who is also his brother. So he was also a mentor in the pitch. I pray that we may do more to footballers and any athletic, those who are in the athletic field as well, because it's one thing to eulogize them, but it's another thing to recognize them when they're still living and support them in that system. So with those few remarks, I really want to condole Austin, because during his time is when we got the Mandela Cup in 1987, and it was very sweet. May God give courage and also comfort to the families. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Bungoma, Honorable Kathleen Wabilianga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also join the rest of the members in condoling our fallen hero, the former member of Kimilili, Member of Parliament for Kimilili, the Honorable Suleiman Murunga, who hails from my county, and more so, a very, very polished politician who stood by his people. And Murunga was known as a very, very polished business person as well. But most importantly, we remember Murunga because as a politician, he was a Muslim, fine. But during the funerals and all church services, you would not differentiate whether Murunga was a politician, was a Muslim, or Murunga was a Muslim. That put him on a level basis where he was a level politician who actually served the people of Kimilili with diligence. We also remember him because he set up a number of schools and left a legacy in education. And we also want to thank the current Member of Parliament who has succeeded Murunga very well, the Honorable Didmas. And lastly, as I sit down, I want to condole Murunga as a polished business person whom we all admired. And it made most of these politicians in this house also think about the kind of business. As a politician, you can also do a side hustle as a business person. Polished as he was, we aped from him. We condole him, and I also condole the late Austin Oduor, who was a footballer. I want to tell my brother Mboko Milemba, who is also a polished footballer, that you have lost a friend. You have kept telling us that Oduor was your friend, and indeed we mourn together with you. I lastly want to welcome anybody all of us who will be coming to mourn Murunga in Bungoma. You're most welcome, and I'll be there.
The Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to join colleagues in condoling the family of Honorable Murunga. I'm sure, Honorable Speaker, you remember me and you, we served in the 11th Parliament with him. And Honorable Murunga was actually a gentleman par excellence. He's a very cool member of Parliament, very focused. And on my behalf of my family, and the good people of Kitui Central, we want to send our sincere condolences to the people of Kimilili for losing this gentleman called Honorable Murunga. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Amen.
The Honorable Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also stand to give my sincere condolences to the late Honorable Suleiman Murunga and his family and the people of Bungoma County for losing an astute politician. And Honorable Speaker, we do pray for his soul to rest in eternal peace. Honorable Speaker, I also take this opportunity to pass on my sincere condolences to the late Austin Origi, aka Makamu. And Honorable Speaker, what the Honorable Member did not also tell the House is that the reason why he was called Makamo is because the late Austin was in what we call the class of 1980 of Gor Mahia FC. And he used to be a super sub. He used to be a Makamo, a deputy. So anytime he was called off from the bench, he would perform exceedingly well. But other than that, Honorable Speaker, the late Austin comes from a family of prestige in terms of the soccer world in this country. His elder brother, his elder brother Mike Okoth, who played for Harambee Stars, was also the most famous goalkeeper of Shabana FC. And besides that, they have their children, Arnold Origi and Divock Origi, who have really given great contributions in this country. So, Honorable Speaker, on behalf of those of us who are soccer fanatics in this country, we give our most sincere condolences to this family, and I urge the honorable members to always continue to support our sports people and our soccer players in this country and give them their best. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Irene Mayaka. The Honorable Beatrice Elachi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me also to send my condolences to the family of Suleiman Murunga. When I was a senator in 2013-2017, that is when he served Kimilili constituency. But one thing I remember when I was Speaker of Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, is when Murunga lost Simas. That was the most famous club opposite 680, and where you would go and listen to Lingala music. And I think one of the things, even as we send him off, we just need to pray to God that his property will go back to his family, because what they did was very, very unfortunate. And therefore, as much as we are condoling, it is important for us to also remember, as Nairobians, it is not easy any person to come from the Western region and run a club in the middle of town. So we want to really celebrate him and thank God for the days and the years he gave Suleiman Murunga, and may he rest in peace. We also, as Nairobians, are now also celebrating the life of our only one, who was the real Gor Mahia. Those are the real Gor Mahia now players, the ones who brought in Gor Mahia in the 80s when we were very young. Austin Oduor, as indeed Elias Makamu. But one thing, Umeme FC is what brought in Austin. And many of the young people, why we have the ghetto sports that you see today, it is because of what Austin and others have done. So I'm hoping the government is not just giving him the best in his burial, but will also put in something in Ziwani for the young people there, just to continue with the football. I think football is what people understand in Nairobi, and especially in all the ghettos. And so to the family of Austin.
Why are you cutting yourself short before you are cut off? You are done, eh? Give her 1 minute.
Thank you. I was just saying to the family, we want to pray that God will give you strength and give you indeed the energy to celebrate him as one of our heroes in the football arena. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable John Kawanjiku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to take this opportunity together with the people of Kiambaa to actually condole with the people of Bungoma for the family of Murunga and Austin Origi, for the loss of those two patriots who have been, patriotic as far as this country is concerned. They have been members of the National Assembly, and also they have really contributed immensely to the issues affecting our country, Mr. Speaker. And may I take this opportunity also to say that we call upon the Public Service Commission, Mr. Speaker, because of the former members and their contributions to this National Assembly, the contribution to this country. There is a time when I sit in the Budget Committee, they had requested for the health cover of the former members, Mr. Speaker. The moment you come out of this National Assembly, you cannot be employed anymore, and no one else will ever take care of your needs and your health issues, Mr. Speaker. And I remember we would want to ask the Parliamentary Service Commission to reconsider a seed capital in the coming budget, Mr. Speaker, whereby it was supposed to take care of the former members of the National Assembly health cover, insurance health cover. And I would request the House, when the budget will be presented, maybe supplementally or the main budget as a House, we consider the former members of the National Assembly for their contribution to this country, and even for the seed capitals that they had requested to be taking care of their health issues, Mr. Speaker. And with that, because those members have seriously contributed heavily as far as building this nation is concerned, and therefore they were asking for about 1 billion shillings for the insurance health cover, Mr. Speaker. It is nothing much to us. And therefore, in that spirit, I request the House, when that time comes, we consider that part of making sure that the former members, they have a health insurance cover. I pay my condolences.
The Honorable Joshua Kimilu, MP for Kaiti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to give my condolences to the family. Mr. Speaker, I want to take the opportunity for me, on behalf of me and my family, to give my condolences to the family of the late Honorable and also the people of Kimilili. Me personally, I didn't know the Member of Parliament one-on-one, and Mr. Speaker, because he's a colleague of one of our colleagues, Mr. Speaker, we want to tell the family to bear the loss, and also that our prayers and our condolences will heal them, because, Mr. Speaker, we know that according to what I was trying to read, the history of the honorable member, Mr. Speaker, he was loved by his constituency, and he was man of his own words, and as I can quote, alikuwa mchapakazi. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the family, Pole, and the constituency, and we are together in prayers on these difficult times. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Vice Chair, the Departmental Committee, Internal Administration and Internal Affairs, the Honorable Dido Rasu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to eulogize two great Kenyans. Suleiman Murunga, we served together in the 11th Parliament. Somebody who brought simplicity and finance leadership, and wherever you saw him around, I always thought Murunga was an MP in Nairobi, because he would, most of the time, he will walk on foot. And the other thing which I came across, he was an easy person to get along with. Until sometimes I used to ask him, are you in government or opposition? Because across the divide, he never had that separation. Honorable Speaker, Austin Oduor, those days when we had the KBC as the only radio and KBC as the only TV, you will hear Austin Nampira, Austin Nampira. Those gentlemen, during their time, they did it for country and play. They never did it for anything. They were among the poorest, if you looked around. They came from less endowed families. But the greatness is they put Kenya on the map. Football was football when those guys were playing their heart out, and everybody enjoyed it. Let alone this time when there's a lot of money, and people actually are not fighting over players, they are fighting over money.
I'll invoke my powers under standing order number 1. I know ruling was given to give Honorable Dido Raso an additional 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I really want to say this. I thank Honorable Omboko Mlemba and Kwamboka for actually bringing these two eulogies or messages of condolences to the House. We may not give much, but sounding it from the floor of the House, from the National Assembly, it sends a message to this country that if you contributed something, there are those who know about it. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. May their souls rest in eternal peace.
The Honorable Japhet Nyakundi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to convey my sincere condolences, my sincere heartfelt condolences on behalf of the people of Kitutu Chache North to Honorable Suleiman Murunga, who was a former member of parliament for Kimilili. I knew Mr. Murunga through his son, Brian. Mr. Murunga was an astute businessman in Nairobi who had a serious club in between the green city of Nairobi. So I want to convey my sincere condolences on behalf of my people and wish the family a befitting send-off as they send him to rest. Secondly, I also want to convey my sincere condolences to Austin Origi, the Gor Mahia footballer. On behalf of the people of Kitutu Chache North, I never knew him, but he was a footballer. He's one of those people who made sure that our country in terms of football is in the map. So I want to convey my sincere condolences on behalf of my people. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
The Chair of the Departmental Committee on Education, the Honorable Julius Meli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand on behalf of the people of Tindred to convey my sincere condolences to the late Honorable Suleiman Murunga, whom we served together in the 11th Parliament. As indicated by my colleagues, Honorable Murunga was a man of, was a humble leader, an astute politician, and more importantly, a businessman par excellence, in the sense that on issues that he had in this city, Mr. Speaker, he actually did his work well. I want to convey my condolences to the family, the people of Kimilili, and to this current sitting member of parliament, because he has lost his constituent and a former member of parliament. On Austin Oduor, Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. Austin and the ilk of this time played with a lot of passion, a lot of commitment, with a lot of patriotism that the current generation need to emulate a lot. That even the football fraternity in this country, if they had picked from the time of Austin, this country would be at the level of the international community. We want to laud them, and we want to pass the condolences to the family, the relatives, and to the football fraternity of this country for the loss of Austin Oduor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And lastly, the Honorable Onyango Koyo, MP for Moroni.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I want to seize this opportunity to pass my reserved condolences on behalf of myself and the people of Moroni for the sad loss of my colleague, former Member of Parliament for Kimilili, Honorable Suleiman Murunga. I knew Suleiman Murunga as a banker, then later on as a businessman in Nairobi, and he did us very proud because for a long time it was mistaken that only members of one community were the good businessmen who could run their business successfully in Nairobi. But Murunga came and corrected this ill and started his business and pushed it very far that he had he had a lot of success in his businesses, and he went a long way to employ people from up country and within and without Kenya. I want to pass my condolences. This will be a second stage because I was present when we were holding a rampe for the departed soul of Austin Oduor of Gor Mahia. I said that I cut my political teeth from Gor Mahia because as they were playing, we were the young outfit that were guarding the players. And I knew Austin very closely, very closely, as a very dedicated player. He had a lot of self-discipline, and the man who gave his all to his country, his team and his country. I was closely associated with the team that won, the Gor Mahia team that won the Mandela Cup in 1987, and Austin Oduor was the captain. He captained Gor Mahia to success, and he was there for a very long time. It was a very trying moment for him because, you know, the Luos believed if he wanted to be in serious, was aspiring for serious leadership in this country, more so in Luoland or the towns, you had to have something to do with Gor Mahia.
So, honorable members, on behalf of the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Right Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula, together with the tributes already registered by the members who have spoken, we condole the families of these two Kenyan patriots. The Honorable Wanami, not Wanami, but the Honorable Suleiman Kasuti Murunga and Mr. Austin Oduor Origi, the patriots who contributed in their great ways in serving this country. May God strengthen the families, may God comfort the families. And in their last honor, honorable members, I wanted to request all of us to be upstanding for 1 minute silence. May God rest their souls in eternal peace. So the statement by the Honorable Member for Aldai next, the Honorable Marian Kitany MP.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the rise of insecurity in Aldai constituency. Honorable Speaker, Article 29 of the Constitution provides that every person has a right to freedom and security. Sadly, there has been a recent rise of insecurity in Aldai constituency caused by a recent change in security personnel at the sub-county level. The shift has led to the incidences of unexplained cases of cattle rustling and murder. For instance, Mr. Elkanah Kiplagat Mugun of ID number 0447870 was murdered on Thursday, the 31st October 2024, while returning home from work. On 13th of October 2024, Ms. Felista Chelimo of ID number 323-21228 from Chebonge village in Mgwen constituency was also murdered at Kundos Bridge in Koyondurio ward in Aldai constituency. Additionally, there have been rising cases of cattle theft or cattle rustling, with a recent case of about 30 herds of cattle which was stolen from 4 different homes.
These incidences have left the families in the state of fear and agony. Honorable Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, a report on the status of investigation into the incidences of insecurity, including the deaths of Mr. Elkanah Kiplagat Mugun and Ms. Felista Chelimo. 2 is the actions being taken to ensure the perpetrators of crimes are arrested and prosecuted without delay. And 3, the measures being put in place to curb insecurity and cattle rustling in the constituency. And finally, a report on the recent changes in security personnel at the sub-county level and whether the insecurity incidences being experienced currently could be linked to the changes. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Chair, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Affairs, the Honorable Dido Raso.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this morning we had an extensive discussion with the Inspector General and the commanders of the National Police Service. And the major reason of our discussion, to the extent that we went into camera, was to address the issues of rising insecurity that we believe is being perpetrated by criminal syndicates. Honorable Speaker, I have heard the MP for Aldai, what she has raised, and I request you give us 2 weeks and we'll be able to provide a comprehensive answer to our statement. Meanwhile, I must add that the police are generally doing a good job, but we have also seen within the police an element of rogue elements. Either they are not doing their job or they are acting outside the law. But that is a discussion for another time. But considering her statement is important, we must address it as a committee, and we request for 2 weeks. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Marianne Keitany.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. 2 weeks is adequate. I know one of the persons murdered belongs to Mgwen constituency, so maybe he may want to also say something.
Yeah, the Honorable Jose Lelmungiri have just told me that this is a lady from his constituency, murdered in your constituency. And I was just telling him that in terms of procedure, it would be better we wait for the statement coming from the relevant agency to come so that we can engage deeply. And I hope you agree, because for now it is just for you to confirm that 2 weeks would be good for you to get that report from the police. And I can confirm to you that I also sit in that committee. So what the vice chair of the committee has said about the investigations which were going on this morning, I can confirm I sat through.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, 2 weeks would be good because tomorrow I'm attending the funeral for one of them, and it would be nice for the public to know that action is being taken. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
MP for Mgwen, what is burning so much?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I just wanted to contribute on this issue that Honorable Marianne raised concerning Felista Jebet, who was murdered. Honorable Speaker, the lady was an innocent lady. She comes from a very humble background. I don't know even how the family is coping up to date. So I was requesting also, as we wait for 2 weeks, we need a detailed report on what the government, through the Ministry of Security, is doing. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The statement will be given in 2 weeks through the chair of the departmental committee concerned. The Honorable Irene Mayaka, MP.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to give a general statement regarding recognition of Honorable Hulda Momanyi Hitsley. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 25-2B, I rise with great pride to notify the House of the incredible achievement of the Honorable Huldah Momanyi Hitsley on her historic victory of being elected as a member of the Minnesota House of Representatives, USA, in the recent elections. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Hitsley's success is a shining example of courage and determination, and it brings immense pride not only to her community, but to the entire nation of Kenya on the unlimited potential of our people to achieve greatness beyond our borders. Her achievements resonate far beyond Minnesota. It is a profound inspiration to women leaders across Africa and Kenya, especially those who aspire to make an impact in public service. Her journey from Nyemiso Village, Magombo Ward, Nyamira County in Kenya, to a prominent legislative position in the United States of America demonstrates that with ambition, resilience, and hard work, there are no limits to what one can achieve. Honorable Speaker, her victory signals an important step forward for gender inclusion in politics, showing that the barriers of women's leaderships can and must be broken. The Honorable Hitsley stands as a role model for young women and girls everywhere who dream of creative, positive change within their community and beyond. Honorable Speaker, I therefore wholeheartedly congratulate the Honorable Momanyi Hitsley on a well-deserved success, and I'm doing this on my own behalf and on behalf of the MP for Kitutu Masaba, Clive Gisairo, and the entire Omogusi Nation, and wish her every success in the Minnesota House of Representatives. May her leadership continue to inspire future generations of African women.
For a few of us to record their recognitions and appreciation, not congratulations, for this great achievement by a Kenyan, a born Kenyan in the United States of America. No, she's Kenyan. She's Kenyan. The minority whip, the Honorable Millie Odhiambo Mabona.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, if you're talking today, unless you're speaking with an American accent, you're not going to be allowed to speak here. And Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that on behalf of the people of Subanath and the Kenyans at large, I just want to congratulate Honorable Huldah for this win. Mr. Speaker, she is a Kenyan immigrant who has gone to the United States of America. And Mr. Speaker, unless you're able to speak the way I'm speaking today, you have no business going to the United States of America. Mr. Speaker, on a more serious note, Mr. Speaker, on a more serious note, I want to say that I'm very happy.
Honorable Millie Mabona, the standing order provisions are clear.
Yes.
You start in a language, you continue in that language to the end. So can you continue?
Mr. Speaker, I can actually finish in this language because as a graduate of New York University, Mr. Speaker, and I can actually tell you that one talent that the Lord God has given me is that I pick accents wherever I go. So if I go into Kissi, I will speak Kissi accent. And if I go into the United States of America, I will speak American accent. And Mr. Speaker, I can tell you just before I came here, I was listening to Huldah, and I think that's what has actually influenced the way I'm speaking right now. But Mr. Speaker, now let me go back as a member of Subanath. And as a member of Subanath, Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that Huldah is the first Kenyan born to be actually elected in the United States of America. And Mr. Speaker, we know that Obama was elected, and his father is from Kogelo. But actually, Obama was not born in Kenya. Even though that was an issue in America, they were trying to say that he was born in Kenya. But his father was born in Kenya. But Huldah is Kenyan born who has been elected. As a woman in Kenya, I am extremely proud. And especially for those of us who are rooting especially for Honorable Kamala, even though I know you are a Trump guy, but we were rooting for Kamala Harris, and because she didn't win, at least this is something that gives us a little bit of consolation. And even though we know that America is still a little behind in terms of democratization, in Kenya we are setting the pace. And we are telling America's followers soon, because even in terms of representation of women, we are ahead. America may have been ahead in democracy, but Africa is fast overtaking America, and we are going to tell them how things are done. And while they are still playing, we will have the first Kenyan to be born. Mr. Speaker, I know my time is up, but I just want to say that you saw that they also play Kanungo. because they realized that all Kenyans were behind her. She's a Kissi, and we celebrate that the Kissi produced somebody excellent. But you know, the Kissi, Abagusi, Abasuba, Abamili, we are all there, Mr. Speaker, and we are happy.
Our minority whip is so learned and so widely gifted. The Honorable Silvanus Osoro, our majority whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I may not be lucky. My Kissi accent won't allow me to speak like Honorable Millie, but I want to join my colleagues, Honorable Millie and Honorable Rene Mayaka, in congratulating the good lady, Honorable Momanyi, for winning her seat. Honorable Speaker, I have had 2 encounters with the Honorable Momanyi in the United States of America. The first encounter was when I went to the US in Texas on or about 2023, when we started upon the transition, I think we were with the Honorable Bai at that time. And the Gusii community that lives in the US requested to have a meeting with me. And Honorable Momanyi came, and it was actually in Texas, all the way from Minnesota. And then she came, though they say Minnesota, but she came all the way from Minnesota to Texas, where we had a meeting, and she actually acted as an MC. At that point, nobody would notice that she would become anything, Honorable Speaker. Fast forward, in the recent visit by His Excellency the President to Washington, D.C., I was privileged to accompany His Excellency the President, and while in the White House, that tall, slender lady, very beautiful, approached me again and told me, "You remember me?" I told her I couldn't. I can't remember you. Then she told me, "If you don't mind, we perhaps could have some, omogusi delicacy today at the Swahili restaurant in Washington, D.C. She treated us alongside Honorable Pio and I, who was then the minority leader, for dinner, and now CS, Honorable Speaker, over dinner. And it's at that point, Honorable Speaker, that she told us that she's going for that seat. In fact, if Honorable Pio was to be here today, he would have told you that nobody saw it coming, because the way she expressed her interest and with simplicity, you wouldn't imagine that at the end of the day, she will garner 65% to become victorious in that particular place. Honorable Speaker, that shows that no person is limited. We all have something that you can achieve. We all have some self-drive that really drives us towards achieving something. But what stood out yesterday, Honorable Speaker, when she was being interviewed by one of the local media houses, Honorable Speaker, is that she's not lost her identity, that she still speaks in Swahili and she still speaks in Ekegusi. That in itself, Honorable Speaker, is quite, appealing. When we have people who go to study in India, Honorable Speaker, when they come back, it's funny. When people go to the US, they come back with American accent. But when people go to India, they refuse to own the Indian accent of speaking in English. It is usually very funny. But even then, even with that very heavy accent, Honorable Speaker, she still speaks very well in Ekegusi language, owning that identity. That is something very commendable, Honorable Speaker, and that shows, Honorable Speaker, that we need to appreciate our cultures, we need to own up to where we've come and our history and our ties. And what I'll tell Honorable Speaker is that the sky is the limit. I see the first female president of the United States of America in Honorable Hulda Momanyi. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Donya Doris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For clarity, yes, I'm a Kenyan, but it is good to be proud of your language. Hulda Momanyi is Kissi, yes. Born in Nyamira, yes. Omogusi. Yes. If you hear of Hulda, the name Heslel, that is for the husband, but Momanyi is Kissi. Then she reminds us of the likes of Maraga, former Chief Justice, Senior Chief, the late Simeon Nyachae. Those are Kissis. We are just proud. Kenyans, nothing is out of order when you recognize your people, Mr. Speaker. It is not wrong. We are proud to say we are Kenyans. The only thing, as I stand to appraise Hulda, is just to say, despite having these beautiful leaders, having good schools in Kissi, like Nyambaria High, which was leading in the last KCSE, let me just say, we lack water, we lack electricity, so that when Hulda will be coming, maybe she might have a donation for us, for our people, to have boreholes. Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, it is good when you get this opportunity. Fix something small for your people. So we are very happy. We danced the whole night. And in fact, now I'm urging Kissi women to have more babies and name them Hulda. So honorable male members, Honorable Soro, you work hard so that your mother in the house can produce Hulda. More girls, we need more children, courtesy of Hulda. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, we will allow the compliments to be recorded in not more than 2 minutes. Except for the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, who will speak next for 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to congratulate our very eloquent and intelligent lady in the US. And Honorable Speaker, this goes to show that the human capital in Kenya is actually the best in the world. When you travel even outside of Kenya, in any region of the world, you are likely to get the best professionals, being the people of Kenya. And not just in politics, Honorable Speaker. If you go, for example, across Africa, everywhere we have had resets of economies, even Rwanda. Currently, if you go to Ethiopia, they are setting up their financial market. You find that it is the Kenyan people who are doing that. But, Honorable Speaker, even on that, I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the President-elect, the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. The reason why, Honorable Speaker, if you go through history, Republicans are always better in terms of policies in regards to Kenya, in regards to Africa, and the entire global South. Because, Honorable Speaker, what the global South economies we need, like Kenya, is not tokenism. What we want is a thriving economy of the world. And that only happens, Honorable Speaker, when the US is responding. And I want to be empirical. The previous administration, Honorable Speaker, they have had to raise the Fed rate, the interest rates in the Federal Reserve, for 11 times consecutively, from barely 0% to 0.05% to 5.25%, Honorable Speaker. This may sound like jargons, but the ramifications are here in this parliament. When we are allocating money, and we find we are allocating a lot of money for debt, some of this money we allocate for debt service, Honorable Speaker, is based on the interest rate. And the interest rate in the Fed also percolates to our own capital markets. It is usually said, Honorable Speaker, that when the economy of the world sneezes or coughs, the other economies catch cold. And I want to believe that going forward, the United States will be more responsible in exercise of their power, and especially given the fact that their currency is the global reserve. And Honorable Speaker, the same reason we saw yesterday, after the win, we saw the markets across the world responding. We saw Dow Jones, we saw all the global markets responding positively, because every person in the world knows that Republicans are better for the economy of the world, are better for the global South, and we look for very good.
Why did you disconnect Honorable Ndindi Nyoro when talking about Trump?
Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, I was just trying to say, history, we say that the laboratory of economics is history. And the only place to see how things work is to look at how they have worked before. If you compare democratic regimes in terms of the Democrats and the Republican regimes, you find that when there are Republicans in power in the US, the economies of the global South perform better. And the more the reason, because this is known, that we see, Honorable Speaker, after the win by the Republicans, we saw a response, a positive response in the markets in the US and across the world. But there is only one pitfall, Honorable Speaker, as I finish. Again, when there is sentiments of a strengthening economy in the US, we'll have a tendency of dollar becoming stronger. Unfortunately, when the dollar becomes stronger, means it is in respect to other currencies. But I want to report to this House, even looking at the tendency of our Kenya shillings against the greenback from yesterday, it shows the Kenyan fundamentals have been grounded, and the more the reason we have seen, even when the dollar is strengthening, our shilling is also strengthening. And lastly, we also hope the United States will also not bring about a lot of economic wars, and especially with China. We do not expect to see the kind of tariff wars because they also affect our economies. So we expect that going forward, we'll see sunshine where the same US economy have poured cold water in the economies. We foresee, Honorable Speaker, that going forward, we will have warmth in the economies like Kenya, and we'll see progress across all the economies of the world. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chair, Budget Appropriations Committee. The Honorable Jerusha Mumanyi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, so that I can also celebrate this brilliant girl who is called Hulda Nyamitsa. It's another name because I know she comes from my village. She's called Nyamitsa Momanyi. And you also know that I am Momanyi Jerusha. That means we share that name from the same parents. I want to congratulate this girl because she acknowledged that we are not even able to explain. We are so happy. The people of Nyamira are so happy. The people of Kenya are so...
And it really is not a preserve of the Honorable Jerusha Momanyi. They are not related. They just come from the same area. Thank you very much.
Honorable Soro, for the avoidance of doubt, in Africa we don't have cousins.
Yeah, we
are brothers and sisters. So continue, Honorable Jerusha Momanyi.
Sure, Honorable Speaker, thank you for informing your Soro. Soro should know that whoever is called your name and who comes from your village, that is your sister or your brother. I'm so grateful that Hulda
give Honorable Jerusha Momanyi 1 minute to conclude. This is her sister. She's talking
about. We are so happy. That is why Osoro is also excited like I am excited. I want to urge every Kenyan who is living anywhere in this world to come up and ask for elective posts because we have been proven as Kenyans and as Nyamirans that we are so happy and we know how to do the work. Wherever we have been given the job, we do. It is because of the hard work of Hulda, because of high resilience and the love that she had for his people. That's why she has been elected. We wish her the best. We wish her success as she moves along. And we know from her we have the future president. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Anthony Kibagendi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also get to congratulate my sister, Hulda Momanyi. Hulda Momanyi is an excellent community leader who understands that leadership is not about taking advantage of people, but making a difference right where you are, right where you are planted. She is the immediate former chair lady of the Mwanyagetinge community group in Minnesota, in Brooklyn Park, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I visited Minnesota some time back, Honorable Speaker, I got a chance to be introduced to this wonderful lady by a gentleman called Sammy Reri. And it is in that time that this lady was again preparing to run for a seat around Brooklyn Park, where she wasn't successful. And because of her resilience and her determination, she has gotten an opportunity to be elected. And I believe this wonderful lady, who has consistently shifted from seeking societal legitimacy or validation to constructing what I can call a meaningful legacy through bringing together the Kenyan communities living in Minnesota and the African communities. We have a lot of Liberians, we have a lot of people from Somali, and the Kenyan community there that she has put together to fight for their rights. So we appreciate her, and we hope this wonderful lady will go on to become an even a bigger star and rise even.
The Honorable Beatrice Elachi.
Allow me also to ride on and to appreciate Honorable Mayaka for just allowing us to celebrate a Kenyan lady, Hulda, Mr. Speaker, who has also broken a record that she vied on a party of Democratic Farmer Labor Party. I just want to tell her, you went the Kenyan way, which is an affiliate of the Democrats Party, Mr. Speaker, but to really say that this is one lady who also was against a Liberian woman. It shows the resilience of the immigrants and that they are committed to build America and make America great. And I am hoping President Trump will be able to appreciate Africa, that he will look in his eyes and realize we are people who love people the way the Republicans do. And so for me, as she goes into the Congress with her values of equitable in housing, access to health, that we shall see a good policy on reproductive health from the Republicans, and that they will remember the embassy that we have now, where many Kenyans have gone and suffered at the embassy. And we need to have a policy, Speaker, that says, if indeed I'm not going to get my visa, then they can charge us consultancy. And I'm hoping the Republicans will do that and refund people money the way we have lost money at the embassy of the US. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Jabhat Nyakundi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to take this opportunity to ride on Honorable Mayaka in congratulating Hulda Momanyi in being elected in the House of Representatives in Minnesota, to be specific, Minneapolis. Everything is fine. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate him, and to congratulate him most sincerely, because this clearly shows that women have space in leadership. And this clearly shows that the Kenyan labor market is workable outside this country. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate her and tell the women of this country that you have a space in leadership wherever you are. Come out as women leaders, come out as women in society to ask for leadership positions, because I believe that women are the best leaders outside here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
The Honorable Catherine Omanyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am here just to celebrate, because when you look at her photo, she looks like me. Yes, and she is so daring, being a black woman, being black and being a woman and an immigrant, making it in the United States. I hope when Trump says he is going to deport people, he is not going to deport our Hulda. Otherwise, there will be trouble. The whole world will stop, because racism in today's world should not be encouraged. So I hope by her being elected in that parliament, she is going to calm Trump, so Trump cannot do whatever he said. Yes. Two, I want to also say
Osoro, what is out of order?
that Osoro just wants to interfere.
Sit, take your seat.
Honorable Speaker, is the honorable member in order to impute improper motives on the president-elect of the United States of America, the 45th and the 47th president, President Trump, elected by the majority, who's won all the seats in all levels? Is she in order to impute improper motive that he wants to deport and intends to deport Hulda? I mean, can she table evidence? It is not possible. In fact, if it was Kamala, she could have deported Hulda.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Catherine Omanyo, remember the United States of America is a friendly nation.
Trump's policy, one of the policy, was to deport immigrants. I am only quoting what President Trump said. It is in his policy. I beg Honorable Soro to go and read.
The policy of President Trump
is to deport immigrants.
Is to deport illegal immigrants, not all immigrants. Least of all, no president of the United States can deport.
Is a Kenyan who happens to have gone abroad and gotten elected. So let us all celebrate as Kenyans.
Minority Whip, the nature of this engagement does not allow any more point of order. The Honorable Dido Raso, you want to say something in recognition of this excellence?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I join my colleagues in congratulating Hilda. In fact, last year in October, that is 2023, we visited the Minnesota State Parliament, and she was among those who conducted us. Actually, for the first time, we were able to see firsthand that the three arms of government can sit in the same building. And also, during that time, we were told that she was working closely with the governor of that state. She has broken the glass ceiling because per se she's not an American, she is a Kenyan American. And for her to discover those new horizons, then it means it is not a mean feat, it is a great achievement. So we congratulate her. She is not a Kenyan, now she is an American. So thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, because the Honorable Chepkonga is engaged, I want to give, so do so in the shortest time possible. After that, we are going to the statement by the Honorable Mulyungi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am speaking for and on behalf of Honorable Makilap. There's nothing, you are not biased. I am speaking on his behalf.
Did I hear a member to shout that the presiding officer is biased?
No, you are not biased.
Could that member have the courage to stand when the speaker is up and say so? Yeah, the speaker is never biased. The speaker is an impartial, neutral presiding officer of the House. Yes. Honorable Chepkonga will be heard in silence.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, can you protect me from Honorable Makilap and Honorable Mili? You know, Honorable Mili, she's a very good lawyer, and she should maintain that integrity. You don't want to lose it.
Honorable Chepkonga will be heard in silence.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, may I take this opportunity to congratulate Representative Hulda Momanyi. You know, I see people calling honorable. She's called representative. Older Momanyi. Mr. Speaker, you know, this tells you that the American dream is real. It is the land of the opportunity, where a Kenyan would go to the US and be elected. Mr. Speaker, I just want to remind you that the first Kenyan American president, Barack Obama, was elected the 43rd president of the United States of America. Mr. Speaker, I was in Minnesota, the twin city of Minnesota and Minneapolis in 1997. I was there for 5 weeks. At that time, Mr. Speaker, I was taken around by the Kissi community. At that time, Mr. Speaker, there were over 10,000 Kissis about 27 years ago. Mr. Speaker, and you know they were giving birth. So as we speak today, there must be in the region of 50,000. So electing a House of Representative person is easy, Mr. Speaker. And we want to congratulate those Kissis who live in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Mr. Speaker. It is a very nice city. For those who have never gone there, when there is winter, you don't need to come out of
Give Honorable Chepkonga 1 minute to be done, because I know he was easily distracted by the minority whip.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate it. Mr. Speaker, when I visited that city, in fact, it was during winter, and you can walk around in Minnesota without coming down. You're walking on the ground. There are routes which have been created from one building to the other. And Mr. Speaker, it is indeed a very modern city. And for one of our own to be elected in a first-class city like that one, Mr. Speaker, we truly are very grateful. Two, Mr. Speaker, as you know, Minnesota is a twin city. Is a twin city with Eldoret City, Mr. Speaker. Before we became a city, we were already having a relationship with Minnesota. So sorry, Mr. Speaker, I studied in University of Nairobi. So, you know, Honorable Millie should know, the only university that we had is the University of Nairobi. And Mr. Speaker, no problem. You went to the American University. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I want to congratulate the Honorable Momanyi. We don't want even to use the first name. We want to use the second name, Representative Momanyi. That, you know, that name itself, and coming from USA, Mr. Speaker, that is a feat. Now, I also want to congratulate Donald Trump. You know, Mr. Speaker, these are people who don't support LGBTQ like you and myself. Mr. Speaker, these other group were a problem. These other group were a problem. In fact, it is good that Trump won, so that Honorable Museveni, President Museveni, may have a breathing space, and their law becomes active in their country, Mr. Speaker. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I want us to go to the statement of Honorable Owen. We want to go into main business. You know, when you stand as a leader, the speaker has difficulties sitting you down. Can you make your statement in not more than 2 minutes? Because we want to go to main business.
I will do that. Honorable Speaker, I want to join to congratulate Hulda, who I met in Texas when we went there. And she's a fine lady, and she will carry the Kenyan flag high, and we wish her all the best. But I think it goes to that point, Honorable Speaker. She may have no influence at all on what happens in this country. She's been elected in a state legislature, not in the Congress of the United States. So her value is more to the people of Minnesota and Minneapolis, and therefore we need just to speak as much. You know, we are building hype and expectation on someone who just, you know, is like a member of a county assembly, you know, and that is what it is. That is what it is. Yes, a state legislature. So we know the value. So I want to say this, but I want to...
Honorable Dido Raso.
I want to say this.
Honorable Owenbaya, you will have your seat.
Honorable Speaker, the deputy leader of majority is standing in his place to cast aspersion on success of a lady in far waters. Is he in order to say that it is just a county assembly? That is not a Kenyan equivalent. That is the state of Minnesota, much, much bigger than the Republic of Kenya.
As my Deputy Majority Leader, I know you want to withdraw that part.
Say this,
It's a big achievement for an immigrant.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, it is such a big achievement for a Kenyan to be elected at the state legislature. But I want to say this, the Honorable Ndindi keeps on saying things that cannot be empirically measured. The Republicans were in office. Africa, though may have favor, but Africans suffer. Africans suffer because the Republicans have a soft spot for African strongmen. They do not, Honorable Speaker, push for democratization of Africa. They support strongmen and dictators in Africa. And that is one. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, Republicans are known for a lean government. Lean government. Let me say, the Republicans are known for lean government, a lean government. Lean government means they will cut funding in education, they'll cut funding in health, they'll cut funding in social care. And these are facts, Honorable Speaker. These are facts. A Republican president in the United States means, therefore, although they will not give grants to Africa, they will be giving loans at very high rates, and the economies in Africa struggle. Economies, is this correct? Yes, economies in Africa struggle when we have a Republican in there. They will give you very expensive loans. They will stifle trade with China. They will ensure that no.
Honorable members, we are recording our compliments to a Kenyan who has won an election. We are not here to diagnose the policies of Democrats, Republicans. Really, you know how to approach that if you wanted to go that way. Can we have the Honorable Mulyungi?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not in the US. I'm on another subject. And I'll proceed on my subject. And I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy and Irrigation regarding utilization of funds allocated for sinking of boreholes in Mwingi Central constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 44.2C, I wish to seek a statement from the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation regarding utilization of funds allocated for sinking of boreholes in Mwingi Central constituency during the financial year 2023-24. This House allocated money for construction of boreholes across the country to alleviate the challenge of water shortage, especially in arid and semi-arid areas. This House didn't, as part of Parliament's endeavor to facilitate access to ordinary Kenyans to their economic rights as envisaged in Article 43(1)(d) of the Constitution of Kenya. Specifically, Honorable Speaker, the House didn't graciously provide funding for 2 boreholes, one at Kavoko Primary School and another at Kalesi Primary School in Mwingi Central constituency. Each borehole was allocated 10 million, and the National Treasury didn't release the money to the implementing agency, namely Tanahadi Waterworks Agency. Of note, Honorable Speaker, is that this money was allocated following the area residents' outcry during public participation in Kitui County on the 2023-24 budget. However, Honorable Speaker, the implementing agency commenced the drilling of the 2 boreholes and then route to the point of finding water and abandoned the works before completion, citing lack of funds. Honorable Speaker, the area is very dry and residents usually walk 10 kilometers to fetch water from the few seasonal rivers, which also dry up during prolonged dry seasons like now. Hence, the boreholes would greatly have eased the residents' burden for searching for water. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I now seek a statement from the chairperson and in particular request for the following information. Number 1, why the implementation of the project was started without public participation of the local stakeholders and area residents who had in the first place requested the project. Number 2, why construction of the 2 boreholes was halted before completion despite full funding having been allocated by Parliament and released for the purpose of by the National Treasury. Number 3, when and how the boreholes were procured, details of contractors awarded the tenders, contract sums, and scope of the contract. Number 4, when the exercise will be completed and whether this could be expedited to alleviate the challenge of accessing water by the area residents. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Muliungi, your request for statement is directed at which committee?
The chairperson for Blue Economy and Irrigation.
The chairperson for the relevant committee. Is Honorable Rosa Buyu in that committee? Give her the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to confirm that I'm a member of that committee. My chair is engaged somewhere and is not in the House, but I want to confirm to the House that indeed I will relay the message or the question to him and he will take due action as expected, Mr. Speaker. I thank
By
you.
what time, Honorable Rosa Buyu?
Mr. Speaker, by the end of today, I will have relayed the message to him and he will therefore be able to.
By what time should the House expect the response?
Mr. Speaker, would I be in order to request for 2 weeks, Mr. Speaker?
2 weeks, Honorable Muliungi?
That's okay, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, that's fine. Relay the message and let us have the
Mr.
response
Speaker,
within
I
2
thank
weeks.
you.
Yeah, thank you. The statement request by Honorable Catherine Omanyo, MP. The Chair, Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee is to respond. You have the response, Honorable Kirima. Do you have the response? Yes, I have. Yes, give Honorable Kirima the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. On behalf of the Chairman of Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Affairs, Foreign Relations Committee, in response to the request for a statement by Hon. Catherine Omanyo, MP Busia County, regarding the status of the fishermen in Bundarangi, Kenya, Uganda border area. Mr. Speaker, sir, the member for Busia County, Honorable Catherine Omanyo, MP, sought for a statement pursuant to Standing Order 44, subsection 2, on the harassment, arrests, and detention of Kenyan fishermen by Ugandan authorities at the Kenya-Uganda border areas of Lake Victoria. She specifically raised the following concerns in a request for that statement. Steps being taken by the ministry with the government of Uganda to ensure that Kenyan fishermen in Lake Victoria are treated with respect and dignity, and that any disputes over fishing rights are resolved amicably and peacefully. B, statement, strategies put in place by the ministry to work with the Lake Victoria Fisheries Organization and other stakeholders to harmonize the fishing policies and procedures in the lake and to provide adequate support and protection to the fishermen, to the Kenyan fishermen. C, measures put in place to embrace security and sovereignty in the Lake Victoria and to collaborate with Ugandan authorities to prevent and punish any acts of harassment and extortion against Kenyan fishermen and by Ugandan authorities. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee engaged the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs on the above concerns listed by Honorable Catherine Omanyo MP. I therefore wish to respond to the issues as follows. Honorable Speaker, on the step being taken by the ministry to engage with the government of Uganda to ensure that Kenyan fishermen in Victoria are treated with respect and dignity, and that any dispute over fishing rights are resolved amicably and peacefully, the Kenyan embassy and its diplomatic staff have effectively mediated specific disputes by engaging with the Ugandan Ministry of Foreign Affairs during the Kenyan-Uganda joint ministerial meeting held in Nairobi from 12th October to 14th May 2024. Stressed the need to address harassment of fishermen in Lake Victoria, and the meeting underscored the need to harmonize fishing laws and streamline the issues of fishing permits to improve accessibility. In 2022, the two countries also signed the Defense Cooperation Agreement in 2022 to address the harassment of Kenyan fishermen in Lake Victoria. The Minister of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs is actively overworking alongside other line ministries to ensure the effective implementation of these resolutions. Kenyan missions in Kampala and Dar es Salaam continue to protect Kenyan interests by liaising with authorities to ensure consular access to detained citizens. And furthermore, these missions collaborate closely with the diaspora associations of Kenya, in Uganda and Tanzania, maintaining continuous updates from associations officials on the status of any detained Kenyans. Security committees within counties bordering Lake Victoria have been briefed to remain vigilant in safeguarding the welfare of their citizens. All reported cases of arrests and diligently followed up with the aim of securing justice for these affected people. Honorable Speaker, on the strategies put in place by the ministry to work with the Victoria Fisheries Organization and other stakeholders to harmonize the fishing policies and procedures on the lake and to provide adequate support and protection to fishermen, Kenyan fishermen. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya remains a committed member of the Victoria Fisheries Organization, an institution governed by the East African Community Treaty. Issues on Lake Victoria are primarily addressed at the bilateral level. Existing disputes concerning arrests have not been necessitated, escalated to regional forums. Kenya has established a robust mechanism to safeguard its interests on the Lake Victoria, including frequent patrols by the Kenyan Coast Guards, conducted in collaboration with Tanzania and Ugandan counterparts. These coordinated patrols are intended to foster peace and the equitable utilization of the resources in Lake Victoria. Mr. Speaker, sir, and the measures put in place to ensure security and surveillance in the Lake Victoria and to collaborate with Ugandan authorities to prevent and punish any acts of harassment or extortion against Kenyan fishermen by Ugandan authorities, and in areas where jurisdiction lies within Kenyan waters, Kenyan authorities are fully empowered to investigate incidents and resolve issues through both administrative and diplomatic avenues. The regional administration ensures the safety and security of Kenyan citizens conducting business on Lake Victoria, and in instances involving foreign entities, matters are escalated through Kenyan High Commission in Uganda or the Ugandan High Commission in Kenya for a diplomatic response. I thereby submit and I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. For the Chairman, Nelson Koech. Thank you, sir.
The Honorable Catherine Omanyo. The Honorable Catherine Omanyo. Honorable
Thank you, Mr.
Makilap,
Speaker.
when you stand on a point of order and you are not recognized, you go back to your seat and you remain silent.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Because it would be disorderly if you continued in the manner you are continuing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was recently with the fishermen, and actually, since I read the statement, there's a lot that has improved, and I thank the committee and Department for Defense for having stepped in and done some real work on that to harmonize the situation. It is good that as good neighbors, Uganda and Kenya, we shouldn't intimidate each other, but we should do things that we accommodate each other so that both of us, whether Ugandan or Kenyan, if you do business in either of the country, then we enjoy, we progress in harmony. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Millie Odhiambo, I know matters blue economy will not pass your attention.
Yes.
You have something to say?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for actually acknowledging that I come from Suba North, and the issues that have been raised by Honorable Catherine Omanyo affect my constituency very much, especially because my constituency borders Tanzania and Uganda at Remba, Ringiti, and Mfangano Islands. And the issue of harassment of fishermen is a very common thing. And Mr. Speaker, I know that even yourself, you are somehow affected. And we have even raised this issue with His Excellency, the President, and he indicated that they are going to actually undertake diplomatic action to ensure that this issue doesn't occur. Mr. Speaker, maybe Honorable Manyo didn't even indicate, but there are times that our fishermen are forced to eat raw fish when they are taken or when they are arrested in the waters. And so I would only want to encourage that there was a time that the government, I think there was Mr. Masharia, who was a commissioner in Homa Bay County, if I remember well, he was transferred to Nakuru County. And Mr. Speaker, he did an excellent job at that level that involved all leaders at that level, members of parliament, governors, and the Ugandan counterparts. And this went down very, very much. We even had numbers of Ugandan counterparts. So I'm just encouraging the honorable member, I know I'm in defense and I'll raise it in my committee, that while we are still waiting for that, so that our fishermen are not harassed, if we could go back to that system, and as members we are willing to be having those quarterly meetings, because it reduced the level of harassment, the killings, the jailings, the hefty fines. One boat is arrested and they are fined upwards of 100,000 shillings. Sometimes they call you as a member and you can't pay for 10 boats. That's $1 million. How can you deal with things like that? So, Mr. Speaker, if the honorable member could just speak up that, so that even as we raise it in the committee, those would be short-term measures to deal with those concerns. Thank you.
The MP for Funyula.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. One, whatever happens in Budalangi actually happens in Funyula. The harassment that happens in Budalangi actually happens in Funyula. So whatever answer he has provided probably more or less touches on Funyula. Honorable Speaker, we want to be very clear. We are tired of harassment by the Ugandan Defense Forces. They call themselves UDF, Uganda Defense Forces. The amount of harassment and torture our members go through is unbearable. And as Honorable Millie Odhiambo has said, the cost to our fishermen, the cost to us as members of MPs is now becoming unbearable. I know there has been concerted efforts between the two governments to resolve the matter, but it would seem the level of discipline among the UDF soldiers is too low because of the bad conditions they live in. Honorable Speaker, many times those UDF soldiers at times do undertake those raids on their own without having been authorized by their seniors in Uganda. They do so because, Honorable Speaker, they harass and arrest our fishermen so that they can get money as a form of survival because they have no ways. They are never paid salaries and they never paid allowances. Honorable Speaker, I must commend the county commander and the county commission of Busia. Many times they have tried to, that they ask in Uganda is obnoxious, is extremely high, that our people are unable to afford. Honorable Speaker, the other strategy they have used is that they take the boats, those small boats, and destroy them. They damage and destroy them and actually ban them, Honorable Speaker. A peasant, a poor man from Funyula, from Dalangi, having spent almost 30 or 50,000 to fix a boat for survival, just for livelihood, and then it's damaged. It's unbearable. It is now part of the problem of enhancing poverty in our area. We just hope now this time round, those consulted, I know, even the Ugandan side, there are also massive complaints. The other day we were at a place called Sigulu. I, the governor, the MP, Honorable Anjala, when we went to launch the water bus. And also the Ugandan fishermen bitterly complained of harassment by the UDF soldiers. I'm aware they indicated to a certain extent that they have passed some regulation in their parliament that's not going to take the soldiers out of the lake and entrust policing and monitoring to ensure that the fishing regulations are adhered to be given to fisheries officers. We just hope that is going to solve the problem. But let me conclude and say this, Honorable Speaker. The fish in Lake Victoria has no passport. The fish in Victoria is not stamped, whether it's Kenyan, Ugandan, Tanzanian, or it came from River Nile, from wherever, or it came back through backflow. It is fish that belongs to the people of East African community. Many times, Honorable Speaker, the breeding is in Kenya. For example, the one that fish that goes to the Ugandan side, the breeding somewhere called Sigalame, where River Suo enters Lake Victoria. They only breed, and then they go to feed in the deeper waters in Uganda. So when we follow our fish, we are not committing any offense at all. And then, Honorable Speaker, they are not demarcated borders in the lake. So you cannot know whether you are now in Uganda, you are still in Kenya, you are in Tanzania. We must leave this African community, did not come for the sake of it. It was supposed to bring unity and harmony. We continuously urge the committee to deal with this matter conclusively because I've raised this matter before. The answers have been given. Nothing has happened. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, the Honorable Kirima, your responses appear to be satisfactory. If there are any more inquiries or investigations or engagements the members want on the matter, the committee can move with them suo moto, and you still retain the mandate. But thank you very much. Honorable members, I want us to go to the next order. Honorable TJ Kajwang, you're not. What is the matter today?
Mr. Speaker, I'm waiting for business. I was here at 2:30. Up
Yes.
to now, the House has not transacted a single
So,
business.
next order.
No, this is not business.
You see, the Speaker is able to notice if there is a matter of concern for each and every member. Thank you, Honorable TJ Kajwang. Can you call the next order?
Order number 10, the Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2024, second reading.
It has been moved. Mover to move. Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2024. That is the bill being moved. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Majority Leader. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I meant Minority Whip.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
Honorable Owenbai.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill number 18 of 2018. Honorable Speaker, this is a very important piece of legislation. Honorable Speaker, it's a very small bill, but the amendments that we want to make on this bill are very significant and have high ramifications. Honorable Speaker, and I am happy that Honorable Kajwang, TJ Kajwang, actually reminded us that we need to go to business. We do too many preliminaries in this House than business, and I am happy that you have noticed that. Business now. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill 2024 is fantastic piece of legislation. And I just want to say what it is in a nutshell so that we can understand, so that as I move in the notes, we know what we are talking about. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Roads Board has, as it stands right now, I think 14 members, 13 members. But we know, Honorable Speaker, that we must reduce the number of board members to align ourselves to the mwongozo as given, so that we come to the required number. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we would like, in this amendment, what we are trying to do is just to do one small thing. Delete the word 8 and substitute with 5. Just that. Delete 8, substitute with 5. So that now we have 5 board members in the Kenya Road Board. And Honorable Speaker, the bill also continues in the schedule to do only one simple thing: remove some of the organizations that are supposed to sponsor members to the board. And which are these organizations that are losing membership? I think 3, because we are removing 3. We are the Kenya Institute of Surveyors of Kenya, the League of Kenya Women Voters, and the Kenya Association of Tour Operators. We remove those 3. We remain with 5. And then we add with the other 4. We have 9. And we are set, aligned. Simple. I don't want to use very many words in moving this this bill. So it is as simple as that. So, Honorable, yes, Honorable Speaker, if I like the question that Honorable Mili is. So, what are the institutions that will be nominating? The nominating institutions, if I remove the 3 I've suggested, is the Kenya Institute of Engineers of Kenya, the Automobile Association of Kenya, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and you know who are the leadership of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Then we delete 4. We delete just those 3 and remain the Kenya Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Kenya Transport Association. Honorable Speaker, that is as simple as it is, and I wouldn't want to belabor, but only to thank the committee. Probably I need to thank the committee, the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, for a job well done in compliance with constitutional and procedural requirements. I think the committee sat long hours and ensured that they have gone through the bill and they have given us these amendments, Honorable Speaker. And I also want to restate that we are trying to realign this law to the Mwongozo Code and the Constitution of Kenya, so that all other parastatals that we have fewer members, so that we reduce governance, we reduce number of people, we don't have those huge allowances and paying a lot of money, so that we align. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to re-emphasize that we are proposing to delete the word 8 and substitute with 5 in paragraph H. This amendment reduces the number of persons that are to be nominated by representative organizations for appointment to the board from 8 to 5. Just that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the MP for Buret.
Before you move, does the board then now have 5 members or the other members of the board?
Of course, there are other members that come in the PSAs and all that, so that, you know, they make 9, okay? Thank you. So I beg to move and ask the MP for Bureti, who is a member of the Committee of Transport, to actually second. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. A member of the
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. As I second this bill, 2 things should come into mind: that the proposal by Mwongozo, the Code of Governance for State Corporations, provide for between 7 and 9 directors. Kenya Roads Board has 13 directors. So the reduction is first to align to Mwongozo, and the nominating bodies, some of them do not have any positions to be able to nominate these people. So the reduction is actually both to create a lean, efficient board to be able to carry out its mandate well. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, you will remember as you've read through the bill, is to actually clean up the bill to align it to the Constitution 2010 by removing the words like minister and replacing them with the word cabinet secretary. So to that extent, Mr. Speaker, I second.
I do propose the question that the Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2024, be now read a second time. And before we do so, honorable members, allow me and join me in recognizing or welcoming the members, the students from Ngosuwani Boarding Comprehensive School, Narok West, Narok County. They are welcome to follow the proceedings of this House this evening. The Honorable TJ, are you contributing?
Yes, I am. Mr. Speaker, the member for Kisumu, Kisumu West, so wondered that this is not business. I mean, that everything that has been going on has not been business. I want to tell her that business begins when we do legislation. So this is now real business. All those that we have been engaged with since 2:30 has been, yeah, something else, but not business. Now, Mr. Speaker, when you look at the memorandum and the bill itself, you will see that some organizations have been listed there. The Institute of Surveyors of Kenya, for example, the League of Kenyan Women Voters, for example, the Kenyan Association of Tour Operators, for example. These are in Schedule 7.1, which defines the people that will nominate members to the board. At the point at which we transacted this business, Mr. Speaker, I remember you and I were in this House. We may have not had regard to the Mungozo Code, and we may have considered persons who have nothing to do with the roads subsector. Institute of Surveyors, for example, League of Kenyan Women Voters, who I do not think they are a legal entity in the first place to be recognized in legislation. Kenyan Association of Tour Operators. This was a badly drafted bill at that time. And if you cared to look at what was the infamous finance bill, the infamous finance bill had these issues as miscellaneous amendments. But you know the fate of the the finance bill, and especially the Court of Law decided that that it was unconstitutional. So to that extent, we had a problem of legislation that we could not midwife these amendments in miscellaneous law. So we are now bringing them as a standalone legislation to be able to clean up that act and also to clean up Kenya Roads Board, because these have financial implications. When you have 13 directors, they'd have to be paid or to be facilitated to do their work. When you have 13 directors, there is decisional problems. 13 people are unable to make decisions where 9 people would have made that decision. Members, this is straightforward kind of legislation to be able to clean Roads Board. And you know, Roads Board is the board that is able to collect RLMF, which we need for the construction of our roads and in our constituencies and so on. And so when they have this structural problem, decisional problem, I think this is an issue that the leader of majority is trying to correct. And so I support this. Thank you.
Honorable Kajwang, could the members who want to speak this go to intervention so that we can easily separate them from the other members? The Honorable Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to support with amendments. Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief, just as brief as the bill itself is. And I want to agree with Honorable Baya that the issues that we are dealing with earlier are not considered as substantive business. The substantive business of the House begins now. And I think many members used to tell me before I became minority whip that they would meet me at around this time, because I would come when it's time for substantive business of the House. But, Mr. Speaker, that doesn't mean that the issues that were being raised earlier are not substantive. For instance, we have spoken about issues of fishermen. That's substantive in itself. But they are not. It's like when you are meeting, there's an agenda and the AOB. It says that Parliament begins with the AOB, then goes to the substantive agenda. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the mover of the bill that if you look at some of the people who are put in the board, that they really didn't have any reason to be there. I know that I support women and the women's agenda, but having the Leave of Kenya women voters in the roads board does not really make sense. It would make sense if they are in a space that is political in nature or has something to do with women and representation. They are definitely registered, so they are a legal institute, perhaps. They may not be a body that is governmental in nature or semi-governmental in nature, but they are definitely registered, but they are in the wrong place. Having said that, the reason why I'm saying I would propose with amendments, and I know even though we want to follow the Mwongozo guidelines, but we must also still ensure that we have the 2/3 gender rule. And you have said that the Kenya manufacturers, we know the leadership right now is female. They are not cemented there. They will serve their time and they will move. We will never know. Maybe the leader there next time will be the CS for mining or something else. We don't know. And the person who will come after that may be a man. And if then we say that it's the CEO who comes, and we don't ingrain the issue of gender, then it means you can actually have a system where everybody who sits are all male. Mr. Speaker, I have said that there is a lot of good things coming out of Africa. So let us set the agenda for the world. Let us do the right things for the world by setting up good governance standards. If countries like America can't do it, who said the South can set the agenda? Let us set the agenda by telling them that we are more inclusive. We are gender inclusive, we are inclusive of youth, we are inclusive of persons with disability. And so for me, the amendment that I'm going to bring has to do with inclusion, so that the parts that you may not change, like PSS, you can't change whether PS who comes is a man or woman because they would already have been appointed. But when we are talking about these bodies, then you can tell them to appoint in a manner that reflects the ethnic face of Kenya, or rather the face of Kenya by ethnicity, that represents gender, that represents youth, that represents age and all those factors. Otherwise, I support with amendments.
Members, this is a very straightforward one. I thought this one we should be concluding in less than 10 minutes. Who wants to speak? Yeah, this one we should be done with as fast as possible. The Honorable Mwashako.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. As you've alluded to, and it was alluded by the mover, that this is a straightforward bill, but I just wanted to put my voice on a few things. Number one, Honorable Speaker, is that Kenya Roads Board is a very important board in this country, that we look forward to seeing that the board that manages, the sector, road sector in this country, has the right people. And Honorable Speaker, when I look at a board like Kenya Roads Board, indeed moving the numbers from 13 to 9 in line with the Mwongozo principle is a good thing. And it does not only save the country money,